All right, extra creditors, after looking at your assignments not your assignments, the pages you did after your test from last week, I can see there's a couple kinds of problems we need to work on. One of them we need to work with is using the distributive property. So we're going to try a couple of problems like that. I'm going to give you the problem. I'd like you to write it down on your paper, and then we're going to see if you can solve it first. So we'll start off with 3. Oops, hold on, I need my marker. 3, and in parentheses we'll have 8 minus a equals 12. Again, you're going to have to use the distributive property to solve this problem. This will be problem number 1. Well, let's take a look at how we would solve that problem. We know that in the distributive property, we have to take the 3 and distribute it through the 8 and the variable a. So I'm going to start off multiplying 3 times 8, that gives me 24. And then I multiply 3 times negative a, and that gives me negative 3a. Or, in other words, that leaves me with 24 minus 3a. And then I have 12 from the other side of the equation. Now, I need to isolate the variable, the a, I need to get it alone. And the easiest way to do that is to start with my whole number right here. So, I've got a positive 24. I need to use the inverse property, so I'll subtract. This says minus 3a, so I'm just going to keep that the way it was, equals 12. Now, on this side of the equation, I have to do the same thing that I did right here. So, 12 minus 24. So over here, they cancel each other out, so I'm left with negative 3a equals 12 minus 24, that should give me negative 12. All right, well, I've almost got my variable a isolated, so what I need to do is it looks like I'm multiplying negative 3 times a, so I have to do the inverse, so I'm going to divide by negative 3 and divide over here by negative 3. The 3's will cancel out. I'm left with a and negative 12 divided by negative 3. I know when my symbols are the same, a negative times a negative or a negative divided by a negative always gives me a positive answer. And I think you know that 12 divided by 3 equals 4. There's your answer. Try this problem on your own. Again, this is a distributive property problem. Write the problem out. We'll start with negative 6 times 3x plus 15 equals 18. Try this problem for yourself and then watch the solution. Okay, we're going to add to this. I'm going to multiply negative 6 times 3x. That gives me negative 18x plus, that is going to be a minus because I'm taking a negative times a positive. That always gives me a negative answer. Let's see here. We got 10 times 6 is 60, 90, so that should be negative 90 equals 18. I got the negative 90 because negative 6 times 15 gives me 90. Okay, well, I have to isolate that variable x. The easiest way to do that is by starting to get rid of these whole numbers. So we have 18x minus 90, and the only way to get rid of that is to go plus 90. So then I have to do the same over here, 18 plus 90. So that leaves me with 18x equals, well, I've got 18 plus 90. That gives me 108. Okay, well, next I'm going to have to isolate the variable by itself. That variable is an x, so it looks like I'm saying negative 18 times x. So let's divide by negative 18. Divide this by negative 18. Okay, following me so far? So those cancel out. That gives me x equals 108 divided by 18. Well, let's think about this. I know if I double that, that's 36. If I double that, that's 72. And if I add on 36 to that, so I've got to be thinking, guessing that it's about 6. So I know that a positive divided by a negative will always give me a negative sign. My answer should be negative 6. Try it out in the problem up on top. Well, let's see. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18 plus 15 gives me negative 3. Negative 3 times a negative 6 gives me a positive 18. The answer works. All right. We seem to have another problem that we really confused some of you, and that was problems that look like this. We've got that's a 2, not a z, 2n minus 6 equals negative 8n plus 14. Some of you really seem to be stuck on where you start. Give this problem a try before you check the solution. All right, when I do a problem like this, I know that I need to, it looks like, get my variables on one side, and I need to get my whole numbers on the other side. So I'm going to start off by isolating my variables. That's just going to be the easiest way to do it, okay? And, well, really, if you work out either one to either side, it won't matter. But I'm going to get the negative 8n over to the other side. So it will look like this. 2n minus 6. I'm going to have to add 8n, and I'll show you why in a second. So over here I've got negative 8n. Well, I need to get rid of that, so I'm going to say plus 8n plus 14. So if I look at my like terms, 2n plus 8n, that gives me 10n minus 6 equals, well, these cancel each other out, 14. So now I've got my variable on one side, now I just need to get my other whole number over there. Well, that's easy, we know how to do that. 10n minus 6, the inverse property of that is plus 6 equals 14 plus 6. So now I'm left with 10n equals 20, because those cancel each other out. 14 plus 6 equals 20. It looks like I have 10 times n, so in order to get rid of those 10s, I'm going to need to divide by 10 on both sides. Those will cancel each other out. I'm left with n equals 2. Let's try it on the problem up here. I know 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. I know up here that negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. Negative 16 plus a positive 14 gives me an answer of negative 2. The answer checks out. Yeehaw. All right, let's try one more problem like that, where we've got multiple constant terms along with our numbers, variable terms, and constant terms. Now, hold on. I messed that all up. Let's start again. So we've got negative 6, come on marker, negative 6y plus 4 plus 11y equals negative 16. Okay? Before you hit play again and watch this, make sure you hit pause. Try and work this problem out. Okay, when we look at doing a problem like this, we can always start with combining our like terms. And I can see that I've got a negative 6y and I've got 11y. So those are like terms because they both have the variable y. So I got negative 6 plus 11y. Well, that's basically like I'm subtracting. So I'm left with 5y plus 4 equals negative 16. Okay, well I can see from there that I can't isolate the variable yet, so I have to get rid of that 4. Let's move it to the other side. So 5y plus 4 minus 4 equals negative 16 minus 4. Well, those will cancel each other out basically, so I'm left with 5y equals negative 20. I can see that I'm getting closer to leaving that variable by itself, so now I've got 5 times y, and the only way to get rid of that is through the inverse property. So let's, instead of multiplying, let's divide by 5. Let's divide by 5. I'm left with y equals negative 4, because I know negative 20 divided by 5, which is a positive, is always going to give me a negative. Negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. There we go. All right, target shoppers, I have one more problem that I'd like you to try. I'm not going to give you the solution to this one, so if you have an older brother or sister, maybe your mom and dad are good at this, let them help you. let's combine where we have more than one variable term with constant terms with the distributive property. Yeah, don't let all that fool you. You still know how to do all of this stuff. So we'll start with 16p plus 8 equals 2 times 8p plus 4. Okay? Again, you're going to have to use your knowledge of the distributive property, combining some like terms, or some constant terms, and some variable terms. Good luck.